which is kind of cool. It'll have a little countdown. There we go. We're live, baby. We're live.
And we're on the What Did Adam Say show. We're AA for
Whoa.
entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Next
thing you know, it started here. It could be Jimmy Kimmel next. You can never tell.
You never know. I mean, this is what Jimmy Kimmel is doing right now. So
exactly.
Oh, I like it. I just got the notification. What did Adam say? It went live on YouTube. Awesome. Fuck yeah! So we are live on YouTube. Wherever you're watching, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Facebook. I am sharing it to all my Facebook pages right now. We are here today with one of our very, very good friends. Well, first of all, since this is like kind of my platform, I'm here with my best friend and partner in literally everything with the podcast AA for Entrepreneurs and Urban Acres, Mr. Andrew Wilkinson.
Hey,
guys. Oh, Andrew Wilkinson in the house.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we are here with our great friend Rob.
Importantly,
from Good. Yes, yeah. No offense, but more importantly, with Rob from CBD Good Vibes, which is our local CBD store here in Taunton. And they have always supported us since day -5, not even day 1.
That's right.
So we are super grateful
from the
for them.
entrepreneurial fetus.
That's good. That was good. Oh, there's Debbie in the background. Cruising around.
Hey, Debbie.
Debbie's making
supported us since day -5.
We got Fico cookies being made at the moment.
Ooh.
Yes.
That sounds delicious.
Debbie's Dank Delights. Yes.
Uh-huh. They are dank and they are delightful.
Yes.
Was that underground bunker sound that we heard when you first went on?
Yes, that was it. That was the warming of the water. Yes.
Hey, Heather Marie Brown says hello to all of us.
That's awesome. Hello.
Oh, I forgot I could put comments in here. Look at that. She says hello.
That is one of the coolest features of StreamYard.
Yeah,
that is cool. Yeah, StreamYard.
The simplicity of it.
StreamYard is honestly super dope. I'm really loving everything about it. It's made life easy. Oh, it's not letting me do a watch party today. That's interesting. Oh yeah. All right. And if you're watching on one of my posts or one of Andrew's posts or one of Rob's posts from getting shared, if you comment on the Urban Acres Facebook page on that video, I can put your comment on screen, which is really cool. What's up, Matt? What's up, Shayla? What's up, Derek? I just saw them all pop in. So yeah, let's get right
chat it up.
Let's how are you doing, first of all? Are you feeling well? You're healthy?
Yeah.
Physically,
feeling healthy. Mentally feeling all right, a little, I'll say from the small business perspective, we're a little distraught about the fact that, nobody's getting any of these loans in the small business world. I haven't heard of one person yet that has actually a small business that has received a loan.
Well, so we don't like to count our chickens until they hatch usually, but we were just told today that we were approved for it. So
that's awesome.
We will see within the next couple of weeks if we get that. It would also be, I think we would only be like the third business I know that's a small business that got it. It's honestly a shame. Mm. And I was in their ear the whole time. Basically what happened is the bank submitted the wrong form. They got 4,500 applications. They submitted the wrong form that I sent them, and it made it so we didn't get submitted in time for the first round. Now they're on the second round, and I was in their ear every single day, emailing them and calling them between round 1 and round 2. Like, is that everything? Is that everything? Is that everything? Just making sure. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. Just rolling up some Girl Scout cookie.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, perseverance was key with that.
Yep. Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, perseverance was the key to getting that loan. You just kind of keep going and going and going until finally they say, "All right, here you go. Now, hopefully, a lot more people are going to get it again. I know they haven't run out yet, so fingers crossed that as many
I
people
hope so.
Yeah,
we're at the top of the list. I know that we're at the top of the list. Debbie went to Rockland Trust, which I can't speak highly enough about. Rockland Trust has been there for us all through the whole business.
You guys were the one that told us about Rockland Trust, huh?
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good small business people. They really are. You know, in today's world of banking, you know, you gotta, just like anything else, we gotta stick to the locals, man. We gotta stick to the locals. You know, and I'm hoping through this whole pandemic that people are really going to realize how important it is to support local businesses.
Yeah.
I think that's going to hold true, because I've never heard so much talk on TV with the media about small businesses and how this whole pandemic has affected them, the mom and pop shops. And that's all of us, you know, we're all in this together. We hear it every day, but you know, you guys, us, we've preached it for the past couple of years that it's a community, and maybe now people will see that even more. I pray for that they do.
Yeah, they need to, because, you know, shopping at places like Good Vibes and small local business with local people that are putting the money back into the economy and into supporting their families, you know, like what's important. That's what's important. And right now, all the local businesses are hurting, while a lot of these big conglomerates are unfortunately getting a lot of the bailout money. And it's really not fair at all. And I really hope that it changes. And it was cool to see, you know, Shake Shack sent back their $20 million to give to small businesses. And hopefully that can help a bunch of people, and it helps extend the money a little bit. Hopefully, you know, everything goes through and we do get approved. And I've been sending everybody I know, including my son's mom's fiance, you know, like links to get unemployment if you're a business owner, or the stimulus check if you have direct deposit but haven't done your taxes for the past few years. I have links for all of that stuff readily available. I've been sending it to everybody that needs it. So we just, you know, we all got to help each other right now, and that's kind of what this is about. You know, being able to talk to local businesses like Rob. How have you guys been holding up business wise? Are you able to sell online? Do you have a website at all?
Yeah, I mean, web sales have been slow, but the curbside pickup's been pretty good. You know, that's something that we've been adamant about. We keep going at it, and our customers know. We've actually gotten some new customers, which is kind of crazy, because, you know, they can't come into the store, but you can talk to them on the phone and guide them on the phone. I mean, I had one guy today that had a whole lineup of CBD stuff that he had bought, I don't know where. And he was looking for some gummy bears, and the gummy bear conversation turned into him realizing that he's better off taking the oil that he had bought 6 months ago. And then he realized that he probably should have full spectrum oil, not, you know, isolate. So he's like, well, instead of throwing money away, I guess I'll just start by trying this isolate out and doing it every day, twice a day, like you said, and actually giving it a shot, you know. Like we've always said, it's all about education. And as soon as they lift up these bans, you know, when people see the way we've redone the store, we educate. You know, we've redone the store in Taunton. People are going to see a big difference when they come into the store now. There's a lot more space to set up tables for education. We're going to be teaching cooking classes on how to cook with CBD there. I'm working with a chef that's going to come in and help us teach about, you know, how to make your own oil, you know, make your own infused oil from flour. And we're going to start selling hemp flour at the store, because, you know, it's the wave of the future. And we're going to try to provide the right type of medicine that people need. That's what we need. And, you know, the one thing I can say about our store that's different from everybody else in this business, and from taking a trip to Florida, I really saw it, is the fact that I tell people every day, when you buy from Good Vibes, you buy from local farmers, you buy from other small businesses. Yep. You know, that is huge. So when you support us, you're supporting two sets of families. You know, you're supporting the families that own our business, which is two families. Then and then when they buy a product from me that comes from you guys, they're supporting you too.
Well,
so
Like Irva has a
right?
daughter
Yeah,
and a family, and all these people.
yeah.
Hippie chick has a family. You know, like you're supporting. Kelly has beautiful children. You know, like all these people.
It's awesome. It's awesome, and
What's up,
that's the big difference. It's the big difference between what we're trying to do and what other people are doing out there right now. You know, other people out there just selling what they can sell just to cut a profit. Yep. And we're trying to educate. You know, you guys, we're all on the same motion where we're trying to heal people. And that's huge through, plants, not pills. You know, that's going to be it. You know, I'm getting some shirts made for when the things change. Plants, not pills, man. We need to push that, man. I mean, people need to realize that. You know, we plastered stickers between Debbie and I, 2 trips down to Florida, man. The whole East Coast is plastered with plants, not pills stickers. So, everyone, it doesn't matter what their age is. It's really cool that I show them the sticker, or I show, because we have magnets now too. And they're like, oh man, I need one of those. I don't even smoke cannabis. But you know what? You're right, man. This guy today said he's 72 years old, and his doctor tried to put him on Xanax for anxiety. He told him, he's like, I've never taken a pill in my life. I'm 72. I'm not starting today. There's got to be other ways, Yeah. And then we started talking about the CBD, right? So it's the wave of the future. Hopefully, after this coronavirus is over, Charlie Baker can address some of these issues that we've been fighting for in the hemp world for so long. And, farmers can really start making some money, because it's getting disheartening for a lot of farmers that they're only able to produce so much, and I know that, we all need to start looking at the big picture too, which is the building industry. Like, it's huge, man. It's huge. Yep. The building industry, Legos, all the byproduct that they're going to want to buy from the farmers, that's just as big a business as the CBD. And I tell investors every day that want to get involved in CBD, I said, listen, man, start looking into the construction products. Start looking into the plastics.
Yep.
My good Mike down there at Sweet Heel, look at the masks he made. His masks, man. I mean, I tell people, like, dude, people are really like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, this guy is really doing it. He's just a regular cat like any one of us.
Yep.
You have a great idea. You got to run with it, man.
So, what else is really huge about this whole thing, and it's huge and different, that differentiates you from, say, buying online, is that you could call you up and talk on the phone, man, or go in person when this corona thing is all over, and you educate, which that's the biggest thing, is that some people don't know what CBD is, and they go to CBD Good Vibes and they get everything that they need to know. But how did you get to start CBD Good Vibes? What was that moment where you said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up a shop.
Great question.
Well, it is a good question, man. And honestly, I'm going to tell you what happened. I went to a convention for one of the local magazines in Boston, and I thought it was going to be all about cannabis, and Adam was there too. And I went there, and it was all about CBD. And I was like, oh, man, I knew a little bit about CBD because of my dad and cancer and stuff. But I was really educated that day. And, I got to give big props to this guy, Steve Sokol, that really educated me that day on how big of a movement that this was going to be, that this was huge, that, you can look at THC, but it's only legal in so many states, with CBD is legal in all 50 states.
Yeah. And it's important that people know that, honestly, because there's a lot of people that do not know that it's legal in all 50 states. And there's a lot of people that also do not know that hemp and marijuana, we call it traditional cannabis, look exactly the same. Like if you look at them side by side, they look like exactly the same plant, because guess what? They're the same plant.
They are.
Debbie always describes it as the twin sisters. You have the evil sister, and you have the beautiful, lovely sister. And that's the way she's always described it, She has a good way of describing the two plants to people. She really does. She's very talented at that. She's a great business partner.
Yeah, Deb is amazing. You and Deb make such an amazing team. I remember meeting y'all at I think the first time I met y'all was at Goldie's event, actually.
Yep, you were walking around the camera.
Yep. As always, looking for interviews. And everybody was so busy that day that I didn't really even get any. I just got super stoned in front of cops, and it was the weirdest experience of my life. And then I saw you at Reliable Bud. Again, with my camera out. Well, actually, no, that day I didn't have my camera out because I got all the way up to, what was that town that's super far
Spencer?
away?
Spencer, Mass.
No, it wasn't Spencer.
No. Montauk.
Montauk. I went all the way to Montauk.
Yes.
I had the camera, I had the tripod, I had the bag, I had extra batteries, and I forgot a memory card. And then I was like, it's okay, I'll go to Walmart. Of course, the closest Walmart to Montauk was 45 minutes away. So no camera for me that day.
That's funny as heck.
All the mistakes.
All of them.
You know?
How many mistakes have we made podcasting?
Oh, at least dozens,
Yes.
of,
if not
100. Yeah. And you know what? We say this all the time is sometimes we don't make the same mistakes, but sometimes it happens again.
Yep.
You know? And you always learn. Sometimes you don't.
No, it's true. Hopefully you learn. And if you don't learn, then you're just going to look at that different.
So Tony said, what strain are you rolling up, Adam? I rolled up I'm smoking on some Girl Scout cookie, donated by a local caregiver because was struggling.
This community is so strong, and that's one thing. I'm brand new to the cannabis hemp industry, and one of the first things that I noticed is how much people care. It's such a caring, loving community, and that's a perfect example of it.
It really is. I was blown away when like people just showed up and gave me cannabis. I'm like, wait, what? Really? really? Like, yeah, like you're doing a lot. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. What do you mean? They're like, well, you're doing all these live streams to try to keep people entertained and distracted, and you guys work hard on your CBD to try to help people with all their ailments. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Thank you. Like, it's sometimes you like forget like that you do things for so many people and just never really expect anything in return. And when it gets returned, you're like, oh shit.
Rob, true.
Have you always been into entrepreneurship? I know we've had a similar conversation maybe a year and a half or so ago, but tell the viewers, like, was Good Vibes wasn't your first real entrepreneur venture, was it?
Oh yeah, it was.
It was.
Definitely. I mean, like, I had other things cooking behind the scenes, but it was definitely my first adventure, me, Debbie, and I. It's not just me. It's a team adventure. I'm just a man who's the only guy. It's my mother and Debbie. We're a woman-owned business, something I'm extremely proud to say. 100% woman-owned. And I just sit back, manage the store, and try to do the best job I can. And we're going to be opening a second store coming up.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for you guys to open a new store, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. It already looks like you've thrown your creative touches into it, and I don't know. It's fun to see everybody that we love growing in this industry, and we're all kind of growing together. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And basically, without any of the community, none of us are even able to do what we're able to do. And we've been trying to give back to the community. Like do we get those bottles in yet, Andrew? The empty bottles?
No. So what we were working on is giving a care package to the local nurses in Morton Hospital. So Morton, for the people that don't know, has been devoted to a COVID center. So it's pretty much a COVID hospital. And one thing that Adam and I really wanted to do was to give back to the frontline workers. They are literally putting their life on the line every single day that they go into work. And the least that we can do is to put together a small little bundle for them. And that includes like a little hand sanitizer, a little salve, because one thing that you notice when you always sanitize your hands is that they get dry and cracked like a riverbed. And one thing that's important is to keep your hands moistened. So we've also included or we will include a salve and a chapstick as well, just as a token of appreciation. And hopefully, you know what, when these little spray bottles and containers become more accessible, we can progress from even further on, from Morton to Brockton, etc. Brockton's been hit pretty hard. Just really close to Chelsea in numbers.
Yeah, it's crazy how it's slowing down in some places and speeding up in others. It's just so inconsistent everywhere. And we just extended the stay-at-home order till May 18th here in Massachusetts, and states will start following suit. We were already prepared for this. Again, I feel like we've been really keeping up to date with this whole pandemic, unfortunately. Oh man, Tony says he'd be willing to help with that, make a donation or something. That's awesome, man. You're an awesome guy.
Tony.
If it wasn't for people like that in the community, a lot of people would be suffering. Look how many people are making masks. Just that in itself is amazing. This has been compared to World War II, and you can really, really see it. You can really see it. Anybody like Andrew, I'm sure, that has studied history, over the years, you can see the different things that are being done. It amazes me, like how car manufacturers are making ventilators, like how easily we've been able to switch things over. And I really hope that it makes people realize that everything can be made here in America. Okay? Let's open up the immigration to the way it was when our forefathers came here, where you needed a sponsor, you had a job, and you came to this country. Because there's many people here now that are, came from other countries that would love to have their family come to this country and get the American dream. And we can do that by manufacturing everything here in this country. And if people don't have a viable reason to be on disability, like, you can't move the right side of your body, then, I guess you get a check. But otherwise, there's a job for everyone. I just read an article about a kid with Down syndrome that did 25 years at McDonald's. I mean, everybody can work. We just need to find something for them to do. Unfortunately, society's made it easy to get things for free, and here we are today in America. Gotta love it. I'm not complaining. I've said it since the beginning. Back in 1990, some of you weren't even born. I went to Russia on a foreign exchange, and it was a life-changing experience for me. I went to Moscow for 3 weeks, and I'll tell you, the first day that I went to the grocery store when the pandemic first happened and there was no meat at the grocery store, I'm not going to lie, I freaked out, because I saw that in Moscow during the real hard communist days of Gorbachev. I saw what it was like there, and I'm like, what is going on here in this country? I know freedom is not free. We pay for it every day, and people need to realize that we are paying for our freedom. Yeah. So we need to voice our opinion and get out there. And I envy the people that are fighting for small businesses and businesses to be slowly opened, because our plan at Good Vibes is we plan on putting in a doorbell, and one person will be able to come into the store at a time starting next week. You know what? We voluntarily shut our store down before they made everybody shut down. So with that being said, we will voluntarily slowly open ourselves back up. That's how it has to be done.
Yeah, sometimes you got to make a move as a business to keep yourself
And
alive.
Another great thing, Debbie has got a link to be able to provide our community now with gloves and masks. So starting next week, we will have cases. I mean, cases of disposable gloves, cases of disposable masks.
Wow.
And, oh, she's popping in.
But they
Hey,
can be
Debbie.
purchased. You can just buy one mask. It's not a respirator one. It's like a procedure mask. And you can buy one, you can buy 20, you can buy a box, whatever you want. Same with gloves. We'll take out as many as you want, or you can buy the whole box. It's up to you. But we're going to have them starting on Monday. And, you know, it's not to make money. It's just we have a connection, and we want to use it to bring those resources to the community, because everybody is going to need them when they go back to work too.
Sounds
They're not going to be able to find
me.
them. So, because once people start going back to work, they're going to be required to social distance, to wear masks, to wear gloves. They're going to be required to. So
It's true.
we just want to help out the community, and we have a connection, and we're going to have everything in place for next week.
Yeah, Rob had mentioned
Well, there you go.
the lack of meat in the supermarkets, and that's I noticed that pretty early on too. And the scary thing about that is the reason that's happening is that not only are people getting scared and buying up all the meat, but actually the workers in the meat packing plants, they work in such high volume, so close together that they're getting sick. So they're not closing down because it is essential, but they're actually closing down because so many of the workers are getting sick and getting each other sick and calling out. There was actually one meat processing facility in, I believe it was Minnesota, out west, that the CEO said, "Hey, listen, you're going to get a bonus for every day that you don't call out. If you make it through the month of April without calling out a single day, then you're going to get a bonus." Now, people took that as like, you know what? I've got a cough, but I don't want to miss out on my bonus, so I'm going to go into work anyway. And where the scary part is that if this continues to happen in one store or two stores, it's not going to be a big deal. But if it starts to happen nationwide, that's when we might actually see a really scary problem where there's not going to be any meat. Now, no one's going to die because of a lack of meat. You just don't get to live as luxurious as you used to. Like Rob had mentioned the story about Russia, which I actually want to know more about. What was that trip for, and what was Russia really like back when you went?
Oh, it was really crazy.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Rob's audio?
Go to Russia. It was really interesting. I couldn't even. We were treated like kings and queens. Trust me, because we're from America. So, you know, they were like, "Wow, Americans here." They couldn't believe it.
Like the common people, like the citizens were treating you like royalty.
Yeah.
You cut out for a little bit there.
Technical difficulty. Okay, good, bud.
Yeah, I just got your new camera fixed back on. Technical difficulties. This is only the second time we've gone live on this platform, and we're loving it so far. Make sure you guys are commenting. Leave a comment. Ask some questions about CBD, cannabis, small business, anything in the comments. Share with your friends if you're enjoying. Sharing is huge. It's the only way to really reach as many people as we can. We are literally live streaming to over 4,000 people just on Urban Acres page, and there's only 7 people watching. So that should tell you how much Facebook lets you reach everybody. So the only way to reach more people is if people share. So if you've been enjoying what you've been watching, make sure you share. I know I've been having a fun time with you guys. I'm already a half a joint through. I rolled a little bit. I broke up a little bit too much for just one joint, so a little halfy. Yeah, Deb. I think we got audio. Oh, Deb said they're having audio problems. Okay. Andrew, what have you been up to today on your Monday escapades?
So on my Monday, I actually I made a bunch of 500 oils. So online Urban Acres has been we've been doing okay. The kiosks went down, but thankfully the online has taken a little bit of its place. And 500 oils are one of our most popular items. So that we were down to 2 or 3 left. So I made a whole boatload of them this morning. On top of I watered a bunch of the plants. We've got about like 100 or so. So that kept me busy for most of the morning, watering and shipping out. And then I went for a really nice chill bike ride around 5 o'clock. It was nothing too hard. I did 51 miles the other day, so I wanted to take it real easy. So I just kind of spun around Taunton, went through back streets, and really just enjoyed a classic bike ride. And then here we are now.
Nice.
How about you, Adam? What was your morning like?
It was calling Rockland Trust, emailing Rockland Trust. The aliens took over the stream last night. That did happen.
Persistence.
It was all about persistence today. I'm actually trying to think of what the hell I did today. I feel like every day is like a blur. It is so much like a blur. Courtney had an appointment with somebody at like 1 o'clock, so I was hanging out with the baby all day. I know that. Tons of Nia time. That's probably why it seems like a blur, because it's a lot of work with a little 1.5-year-old.
That is a fact.
Yeah, I didn't really get too much work stuff done, unfortunately, today.
Yeah, you know what? You got to have balanced days where some days you work a ton and some days you just gotta relax a little, get a couple of big major things out of the way, and maybe some things that you've been kind of pushing aside. And it's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things to do is to push work that I don't want to get done, push it aside, and then finally say, you know what? I'm going to get this done, because it's just so much more rewarding that way. You're like, finally, this huge task, and maybe it wasn't even that huge, but it was a pain in the ass, and now it's done. What happened to Rob?
That's like us and our taxes. That's
I fucking hate taxes. We don't even have to do them, but just a matter of like compiling everything and sending it to the accountant is like the worst.
Like, punch me in the mouth repeatedly first, and like I'd rather do that.
Yeah, rather take liver shots.
Rob disappeared. Oh my god, where'd Rob go? Dylan Hediger, you still in the chat? Oh, I can post comments from here too. Let me see if this works.
Unbelievable! It's a really, really nice. Why did my screen? Can you see me?
Yes.
My phone went completely black.
That's weird.
Yeah, super weird. But now it's on. Maybe that's
weird. It commented everywhere. It commented on my YouTube. It commented on the Urban Acres page. It commented on my Twitch. It commented everywhere. Yay!
Wow. Super clutch.
So there's got to be somebody watching, I think, on Twitch, because on StreamYard it shows me there's 6 people watching, and on Facebook it only shows 5. So
yeah, on Facebook I see 5. So
it's like
let's talk about that logo. That's the first time I'm seeing that. How'd that come to be?
I was bored.
He's back.
I was honestly just bored messing around. It's definitely not something permanent, but it's an idea, and I want to go off of that. Probably have somebody that designs logos actually make something. And I don't know. I'm stuck between doing that and just my original logo for What Did Adam Say, which is just my face, but it's like blacked out. Just like,
Yeah. Yep. I like that picture. That's a good one.
Yeah, and it's still on the podcast. Like, I just released 2 podcasts today. I found a random you know how I was doing like the real life recordings on my podcast? I found a session when we were smoking the freeze-dried bud.
Oh, okay.
So I released that, and then I released the session I did with Hope last night live.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rob, welcome back.
Tony says he sees 6. So yeah, now I see 6, but now I see 7 on StreamYard.
I see 8 now.
Ooh, I see 9. I see 6 on 8 on Facebook.
Can we make it 12?
Yeah. Share with your friends. Let's get some more traffic in here. Let's get some CBD questions in here too. I was seeing if Dylan was here too. Like, I know he's an entrepreneur. I wanted to see if an entrepreneur wanted to ask some questions, or if anybody wants to, do some stuff. Rob, how do you see this all ending, and how do you see yourself in the business coming out of this?
Honestly, I see us killing it. I see small businesses killing it, because at the end of the day, I think people are going to remember who took care of them and who took care of their employees. I know me personally, I'll be honest with you, I will try to avoid using Lowe's as much as possible. It's something I really haven't talked about much.
Ooh,
I put a post out the other day about it. The fact that they don't count how many people go into the store, it absolutely disgusts me. They don't provide any PPE for any of their employees. On Saturday, the place looked like there was no quarantine whatsoever. There was lines. It was horrible. It was horrible. So, I mean, I hope people see this. I hope people see the way that people are treating their employees through this whole thing, I mean, personally, me, I can say that, I'm the manager of the store. I'm a paid employee. Debbie and my mother own the store. I took 5 weeks off of unpaid time, just to make sure the store could survive. And then I had no choice but to claim unemployment. And I'll be honest with you, I've been waiting 4 weeks for a debit card for the unemployment. It's like a carrot dangling in front of you. You got the money, but you can't get any access to it. Because at the time when I filed for unemployment, I didn't have a blank check on me. So it wasn't like I couldn't do the bank account thing. I didn't think it was going to be this big a deal. Otherwise, and then I tried to switch it over, and I said, well, the money's already on the debit card, so you have to wait till that comes. And then you can switch it over. I said, oh, this is great. So, if it's me, guess what? It's everybody. It's everybody, and I think when we come out of this on the other side, I think people are really going to recognize and realize the businesses that took care of their employees and tried to keep everybody working and, tried to be successful through this and always cared about the people. That's the thing. People caring about people. Mm-hmm. I had the pleasure in the fall of working with Peter Kelleher. He takes care of the homeless people in this area. A lot of people don't know about the soupman.org. If you don't know about it, you need to. I mean, there's one guy. He's a soldier. He's out last week, 1,500 bag lunches that he gave out to the homeless community. We need to remember people like that. Small businesses, people helping people. That's his motto, And I just hope that people remember. And when we go to Fall River, we got big things coming up. We're going to have outdoor yoga classes. We got big, big stuff coming up. And we're going to spread the good vibes down in Fall River. And we're gonna make people realize that taking CBD helps build your immune system, and it helps homeostasis in your body. And I think once this is over, okay, and I'm able to have people come to the store and educate them, and they start hearing about how this built up your immune system, I think we're all going to be very fruitful at the end of the day, because I think people are going to realize that this is facts. This is facts, okay? Mm-hmm. People that use CBD, people that use cannabis, how many of them are getting COVID-19 and ended up in the hospital? Let's see those stats. Let's see those stats on the natural healing properties and how many of those people are ended up in the hospital. It's very interesting to me.
Very, very interesting.
I'd love to see a report, a study done for that.
Right, so
yeah, I mean, you know what? We have so many cannabis-friendly colleges here that it would not surprise me at all that some crazy lunatic professor would say, you know what? Yeah, this is a good study. This is a good take right here, because we have more and more legalization throughout the United States. That's the big picture right now. Another big picture I want to touch on real quick is the fact that, I don't know if anybody knows this,
Medical cards have gone up 700% in the state of Massachusetts. You know why that is? That's because everybody's finally woke up that went to the rec shop and said, holy Moses, I can spend $150 for a medical card and still be able to go get my medicine and not have to worry about them shutting down the rec shop, because they're never going to shut down the medical. They've already shown that in this state. They're not going to shut it down. They didn't shut it down during the pandemic. They're never going to shut it down. And then they start calculating out the amount of taxes they're paying every week or every month when they go to get their product at the recreational dispensary. Then they're like, wait a second, I don't pay tax at the medical dispensary? I'll just pay the $150 up front. It's like going to BJ's. And that's basically what it's coming down to. 700% rise in medical cards in the state of Massachusetts since the pandemic started. You can sit at your house, talk like we're talking right now to a doctor, and get your medical card, okay? I hope those businesses thrive, but the fact that Charlie Baker shut down recreational dispensaries when we're just throwing money out the door right now, to me is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. He should have kept it to Massachusetts residents only, and this state would have thrived through a bad pandemic, and at the end of the day, we would have came out the backside of this with more money than any state in the United States of America. But nobody has any common sense, and they'll keep liquor stores open that kill people, that create spousal abuse, domestic violence, and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So hopefully through this whole pandemic and the fact that all these recreational shops sued the state of Massachusetts, though they lost, they were told by the judge that Mr. Baker should really take into consideration that they lost a lot of tax revenue through this pandemic. Look how much liquor stores have gone up, over 50% in sales. These are facts. So what could have recreational cannabis brought into Massachusetts?
We have a
Once again, it's a ploy by the governor who's anti-cannabis to try to shut things down. That's
a comment that backs up your point about people using cannabis, not getting sick. Look at this. Tony says I get sick maybe once every other year. I've been smoking for about 16 years now. I smoke to sleep. I smoke to ease stress. I smoke to focus, for headaches, for toothaches. I refuse to take any pill of any kind. That's my man. There you go.
Right on.
And it's true, man. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I have an uncle that's like 78 or 79 now. And my cousin came down to visit us at the store last week, and he said since the pandemic, you know, my uncle's been a chimney because he's been stuck inside the house. I mean, this man has partaked in cannabis since he was 13 years old. He never over-medicated himself. I never knew that he even did it until I was probably in my mid-20s. And then he told me, like, why are you going in the woods to hide? You know, like, you got to invite me. What's going on here? And you know, I think about it today. He's never had cancer. He's never had any serious illness whatsoever. He bikes probably 30 or 40 miles a week. He kayaks. He takes good care of himself. He still works 3 days a week. You know what, man? It's about staying busy, keeping your mind, body, and soul. And, you know, this is what we're going to realize after this whole pandemic is over, that, you know, it's really about taking care of ourselves. And the pills are not the way, man. The plants are the way. They really are. And watching out for each other, you know, the simple things like making sure your neighbor's okay. Man, I'm 48 years old, and anybody in my age category will attest that we grew up that way. I grew up that way. I knew all my neighbors. You know, I feel very blessed that when I lived in Middleborough for over 20 years, I knew every neighbor on my block. Every one of our neighbors, we were all friends. We need to get back to that. That's how we take care of each other, man. We show the love. We show the good vibes, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's about.
Couldn't agree more. It needs to get back to just being able to be a community. And you know, cannabis, the cannabis community showed me that that's even possible. Like, I didn't even think that could be a thing anymore in this day and age. And that completely proved me wrong. And, you know, I've definitely had some times where I've been at events, and, you know, Andrew's been there with me, where it feels like it's like fighting the state and stuff like that, because we have to go to so many of these through these state officials and state organizations and everything. And it feels like everybody's fighting with them and nobody wants to work together. But then in times of the need, and times where everybody needs help, everybody comes together to help everybody. And that's why we're so pumped. Like we said, we're not counting our chickens till they hatch, but if we get this loan through, we're using most of that money for our employees. You know, like you said, we need to make sure our employees are good. We have 8 amazing employees, and most of that money is going to them to pay them for the next 10 weeks to make sure that they're good. And, you know, they want to help on, speaking of employees, Jen just commented, "Hey boys."
Hey,
You know, we need a few of them want to help on the farm and everything too. So, you know, I will feel better about that because we'll be paying them. So it's a great feeling. One of our employees, he's going to be editing videos and taking over, you know, like everything you're seeing that's popping up on your screen, I'm kind of doing on my computer right over here. And he's going to take over that so I can focus just on the conversations, which will make it even better. So, and we want to pay him for that, you know, like we want to be able to hook up our people, and hearts for us, guys. Throw up the hearts if you wish us good luck, because we need that. We need it bad, and we're trying to help our employees out more than anything, honestly. And we're hopeful. We're hopeful. Shayla says, hope by the end of this we realize we are a virus ourselves too. Hopefully we come out more helpful in the end. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, that is true.
We are a virus. If you look at, Joe Rogan said in one of his stand-ups in like 2006, he said if you look at LA from like a helicopter, it just looks like a big mass.
it looks like a scab.
Yeah.
All the cities, like, right? If you go on Google Earth, it just looks like scabs scattered across. Unless it's at nighttime, then it just looks like a bioluminescent tumor.
It looks like. Oh my god.
I think one of the biggest things to staying healthy is exercise.
Yeah.
You know, in both exercise the body and the mind. Yoga. As soon as we can have that again, start going to yoga classes and go for walks. You know, I've read a lot of studies on immunity and probiotics. I couldn't recite these studies now, but something that's really, really easy for people to do is make your own yogurt loaded with probiotics, and it's really, really not that hard. You can find a couple of recipes online, but it's something that you can do, and you can have your own yogurt within 2 days. Not even. If you want watery yogurt, like the Danimal's drinkable stuff, you can have yogurt in a day. And that, working out, being happy, just do what makes you happy.
I have 2 questions for you, Andrew. I know the process is really simple because you've told it to me. Explain how to make yogurt.
Yeah, so you're gonna take whatever milk that you enjoy. I like whole milk. So what you do is you take the milk and you boil it to not boil it. You heat it up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and then once it reaches 180, you let it cool to 110, and then you add your culture. So you want to start with like an organic Greek plain yogurt, and then you incubate that for 24 hours at 110 degrees. After the 24 hours, you're going to take that, and if you like a watery yogurt, it's ready to go. If you prefer a thick Greek yogurt, you're going to put it through a coffee filter, or they've got these special mesh filters that you can buy, and you just put it in the fridge, and after about 12 hours, it's ready to go, and it separates the yogurt from the whey, and that whey can be used for you can give it to your pets, or you can use it to boil rice, whatever you really want with it. And if you like flavored yogurt, you can add some honey or maple syrup or some fresh fruit, and you're on your way to really doing great things for your whole body by keeping the probiotics strong. Yogurt.
So my second question to you is this. Tony says, wait, what? He said this a while ago. Wait, what? Freeze dried, bud? So what is freeze drying? Explain that to people, because that was a brand new thing to me when I first met you, and it still blows me away to this day.
Yeah, so freeze drying is a way of preservation. It's really a modern way to preserve things. What it does is You take anything from bud to bananas, chicken, whatever it may be, and you heat it. You freeze it to negative 40 degrees in what's called a freeze dryer, and once it reaches temperature, it creates a vacuum. And once it's negative 40 in the vacuum, it slowly raises the heat, which makes the moisture within it evaporate. And as it does this, unlike traditional dehydrating, because it's frozen, it keeps the structural integrity of whatever you're freezing. So we'd mentioned freeze-dried bud. So it actually still looks perfectly pristine. I've got bud that I freeze-dried 2.5, 3 years ago, and it looks like I had just picked it yesterday. It looks fully fresh. It doesn't even look like dried bud. It looks like you cut the bud off of the plant and now you're smoking it. And when you crumble it up, it turns into like keef, into perfect dust. And you smoke that and it's smooth. There's no coughing. There's no irritant. And it's a really interesting way to preserve things. Science.
Oh,
That's really funny, Andrew, because over 30 years ago, a good friend of mine used to keep all his cannabis in the freezer. And then over the years, I've heard mixed reviews about that. And he used to swear, and the kid was a lot younger than me. We used to tour with the Grateful Dead, and they used to call it kind bud back then because it was kind on your lungs. It wasn't like smoking mids that were brown that after you took 2 hits, you thought you were going to lose your left lung. So they called it kind bud. And he used to buy a lot of it, and he would stick it in his freezer. And he had all kinds of jars in his freezer. And then over the years, people have told me different things about that. And now I know that it's true. It makes so much sense, man.
Yeah, so how would he thaw it? I mean, he wasn't freeze drying it. He was just freezing it. Do you know the procedure?
Yeah, he would just freeze it. And then he would just take it out of the freezer, let it thaw, and it was great. I remember some of the bud was lathered with trichomes. And when he took it out of the freezer, man, it was like you would get lit. He used to keep it all in the freezer. People used to think dude, you'll never have to worry about getting robbed. Who would look in your freezer for bud? He's like, yeah, that's one of my ideas too.
That's funny.
Tony asked, where would he find a freeze-dried Gorilla Glue strain? Well, you'd have to buy a freeze dryer or have a friend who owns a freeze dryer and have some Gorilla Glue on hand to freeze dry. Definitely is a process.
And you also have to keep it in an airtight container, because once you kind of take it out of that vacuum, it's going to start pulling the moisture, the humidity out of the air. So it needs to go directly into like a mason jar. And then that's how you perfectly preserve it. They've got these little packets. They look like those things that you find in pepperoni, but they absorb the oxygen. So that's another way to perfectly preserve it as well. But yeah, like Adam said, you'd have to either grow it or buy it and then freeze dry it. It's freeze dryers can be an expensive piece.
Yeah, expensive. And
you know what?
Take up a lot of room.
They do. It looks like something you'd see in a hatch in Lost.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm thinking? You could actually probably Google Gorilla Glue freeze dried, and you might actually be able to find some. It might be a specialty kind of business.
We saw an industrial freeze dryer once, and whoo, did that get us a little bit perky.
You could drive a truck into that thing. We were standing in it. I'm like, that would have been like space.
Yeah. Oh, this field of hemp broken down. We can freeze dry this. Great. Intense.
I mean, when you think about the way that you make keef using dry ice, I mean, it's similar. It's very similar. You use dry ice. You take the sugar leaves. You get them up to a crazy cold temperature. And then they all crumble down, and next thing you know, the trichomes just fall off. Like, it's incredible. I've seen my buddy just spin, say a pound of trim leaf, and the way the kief falls off it, it's amazing to watch. It really is.
Eating
it really
like
is.
space
500 milligram tumbler, like seeing that in action is something serious.
Dude,
Yeah, it's an
video.
art, really.
We saw this video the other day of $30 million processing lab, and they had this like giant decarb rolling machine, and it had a terp capture machine on it for everything that was getting decarbed off it. It was insanity. They ran like 8,000 pounds a day or something like that. In fucking sanity. We're trying to get partnered up with them.
Yeah, these guys have contracts with like pharmaceutical companies, state of the art. I kind of looked at that facility, be like, I didn't even know something like this existed. Are you working with like governments? $30 million facility.
Wait, that's
pristine,
goals.
Clean.
So Tony, the only problem with freeze drying buds that we found is that when we were smoking, I left it out on the bed uncovered I didn't put the lid back on the jar, and within like an hour, it was back to normal bud form. Like it was like it never was freeze dried, because the moisture just went. It was, to be fair, it was like 1,000% humidity day that day. It was really humid.
And really dry things are like a dry sponge to water. So water is like a magnet. What's that?
Huge.
Huge.
I don't know why she said huge. Feeling goofy. Rob, did we lose you again? Oh no, you're moving.
I'm here.
Oh yeah, he just looked really.
I think the Fico's kicking in.
Yoga.
So the Fico's kicking in. Oh man, don't pass out. I passed out from Fico once. Too much.
This guy that I help out, he's in a wheelchair. I got a kind of a funny story. The other day he took a few too many gummies. He decided to venture into 150 milligrams of gummies. So I asked him how that worked out for him, and he said, "Well, I slept real good, but the issue was I started nodding out while I was in my wheelchair, and the next thing I know, I almost fell out of the chair twice. Then I decided I better crawl into bed before I ended up on the floor for the night. Would have been calling me in the morning to come pick him up. Would have been horrible."
I literally passed out. Like I thought I was gonna throw up. I was sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh no, don't throw up. We're not gonna get sick. And I'm like, "Oh no, here it comes." And I like got up to go to the bathroom, and the next thing I remember, I'm on the floor, and I just wake up like, "What the hell?" And I like feel my chin, and it's bleeding, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And then at the time, my fiance's sister was living here, and she came downstairs like right after that happened. I'm sitting on the ground against the wall, just like trying to recompose myself after passing out. And she steps over me. It's like, "What are you doing?"
Sam.
Oh my god,
Like, you crazy person.
And she just like left me down there by myself. I was like, "I need CBD."
Yeah, I get that high out on half a bowl.
She said the next morning she probably thought it was like a dream. He said THC or CBD gummies. THC gummies.
Oh yeah, THC, no CBD for that cat.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. What are you doing, Nene, babe? The star of the show is here. Every night she seems to come perfectly towards the end of the podcast and say hi. Hi,
hey, Nia.
There she is.
Say hi. Look, I'll scroll up a little bit
She
more.
wants to be in movies.
Look at this.
I think Jeff and Ben need to find a part for her in the new movie.
She needs to be the zombie killing baby.
Yeah.
Who grows awesome weed at like 3 years old.
Dude, she can be the bud tender. You know, she can be the bud tender at the dispensary. Don't judge her for her size.
She said that she's a CEO. Don't call her no bud tender. Oh man, wait. Oh shit, that comment's still up. I didn't realize that. Shayla says, "Hi, baby." I think that's the whole reason Shayla watches these every night is to see the baby. I would not doubt it. Oh, Tony says he ate 9 sour worms, 300 milligram THC, and only felt like you smoked a joint of mediocre buds. That might, were they 300 milligrams each or the whole package? I know myself, I can easily do, 500 milligrams comfortably. I can do 1,000 milligrams and be really fucked up. The night that I passed out from FICO, I probably had somewhere in the vicinity of 2 to 3 grams of FICO. Oh, Nene.
I don't even know what that. Incomprehensible. 2 to 3 grams. I don't even know. What is that like? How many? What would you say equivalent of joints is that, Rob? 2 to 3 grams.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I mean, it's totally different, but I mean, let's just say that the FICO tested it, 80%, which would be low for FICO.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like every gram of bud is like 20%. I mean, so, my dude's up to like 16, 20 fucking joints he smoked. You know what I mean? You wonder why he fucking passed out. I mean,
let's just say it was 2 grams and it's tested at 80%. That is
1,600 milligrams, dude.
Yeah, so it was a little bit much, a little bit much, and it's full spectrum too, so it just fucks you up way more. Oh, yep. Tony said, "What is that? FICO? What is FICO?"
Hey, Tony, if you don't know what FICO is, man, you need to try it, man. It's the wave of the future, man. This is how you prevent cancer.
Andrew,
a rice-sized piece, you'll be lit and you'll be nice. You do that for a couple of days in a row, and you build up a tolerance a little bit to it. And next thing you know, you won't have to smoke as much. It does so much for your body. Man, I can't speak enough about it. It's awesome. Well, you can dab it too, but I'm trying to get people off of smoking, man. It's the wave of the future is doing it through sublingually, That's the way we all should be doing it. Kerry Parker, Dan Miller, these people, they're pioneers, man. Especially Kerry Parker. I want more people to know about her because you know what? She's in the UK. She's not in America. She's a real pioneer. Curing herself of cancer with cannabis in England is really unbelievable, man. She's an incredible woman, and what she's done for that country and made people wake up and realize that there are other ways to beat cancer other than the killer of radiation and chemo, man.
Oh yeah, and the problem with chemo is just attacks everything, whereas the FICO, the THC, is attacking the cancer cells, or so they've seen in studies. And CBD has been shown to help regenerate cell growth. So, the combination of the full spectrum is really just kicking cancer in the ass. Where do you get this stuff? Tony says.
Follow the FICO fam, Facebook, man. Follow the FICO fam. That's the key to the golden pot at the end of the rainbow. Right there.
Someday,
that's the key to the golden pot, man.
Someday
magic medicine right there.
Just for the sole reason of being able to make FICO and give it away legally for free, like fully legally. Let's give it away. Just pay the taxes on it. And the taxes are based upon the valuation we put onto it. It's not much. It's going to be a loss. It'll be a loss, but
worth it. It's like a donate charity.
Oh Lord. Oh, she was commenting to Tony saying, "I do smoke a lot." Oh Lord. I sense a match made in heaven in the comments. Uh-oh, Tony and Shayla falling in love in the comments. I'm just kidding. Never know what you're going to find out. You might find love.
That's going to be Adam's new show, Andrew.
What's that?
Adam's new show is going to be the Love Show. You're going to be the host. That's right.
The
We've
Love
heard
Show.
about you.
With Adam and Rob.
It's going to be like The Bachelor, cannabis style, starring Andrew.
I don't know. I'm not much of a star, but
I don't know, man. You've been in a couple music videos.
Yeah,
the music videos.
That was a fluke. Those are fun to do, man.
Shayla said she hates me. Tony's laughing. I don't know, but I'm seeing sparks fly. So Rob, before we head on out of here, it's already been an hour, if you can believe it. Before we head on out of here, why don't you plug away? Tell the people where they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else.
Yeah, you can find us, Debbie and I, on Instagram. It's CBD Good Vibes on Instagram. And we can find us on Facebook on Good Vibes Wellness Center. You can also get us on goodvibeswellnessma.com. That is our store site. We are building a new website right at the moment, as well as a new store. We're hoping to have that out within the next couple weeks. Please follow us. See when we're going to be opening up our second store. I mean, at this point right now, we're looking right at the beginning of June. That's going to be the day. And I will guarantee one thing. We will throw a blowout for the second grand opening. People are going to want to get out and have a good time, and we're going to provide that. Because that's what we do. We provide good times and good vibes. You know what I mean? That's what we do, man. Everybody knows it. When you come to our store, you leave with a smile on your face, no matter what, man.
Big facts. And usually when not social distancing, you end up with a big fat hug. Big old bear hug.
That's right. We love the hug.
And a good way to reach you guys too is by phone too, right? I would say that's a good way, because man, you guys are just so informative, and if you can actually talk to them, that's the best thing. And I actually, while you were talking, I found your phone number. I'm just going to post that in the comments so that people can call you guys when they've got any questions on CBD.
Yeah, I had a great phone call today.
Wow, there's like no delay on this. It's like straight from like
Look
comment.
at
that. Wow. Woo! All right. So this is the phone number you call if you really need CBD questions answered, and just overall plant medicine advice, and just overall good vibes. Call this number and chat it up with them. We haven't said this surprisingly the whole time, but they carry our products there, Urban Acres. And you could buy our products from them too. It helps us, it helps them, it helps everybody. Like we were saying, when you buy from them, you buy from more than you support more than one family, and it's a really amazing thing.
Amen, man.
And so this has been awesome. I've really been enjoying these live streams so far. Make sure, if you've been enjoying them too, to subscribe to the podcast. Search What Did Adam Say anywhere podcasts are available. Make sure you search AA for Entrepreneurs too. That's my podcast with this way. Hold on, where is it? This way. There he is. This beautiful gentleman, Andrew, and we'll actually be live streaming.
It's opposite.
We'll actually be live streaming again together tomorrow night. We'll be live streaming on the Talking Dead page with Ben and Jeff. This handsome man with Ben and Jeff. The Talking Dead are amazing. They just released a new comic. We're probably going to talk about that. We always have a fun time with them too. And then Thursday night, we'll probably have another guest. I'm kind of thinking maybe we should have Eric on. I want to see if he'll hop on. That'd be cool. Us three.
He just popped up on a notification for something. I didn't read it fully, but he's got a story too that I would love to share with the world.
Oh my God, yeah.
Thank you so much, Rob, for coming on with us.
It's been a fun time.
Thank you guys for having me, man. We appreciate it.
Yes.
We
keep up the good vibes, and I'll take you guys out on my little boat fishing soon when it's done.
Hey.
Hang loose, man.
Hell yeah, guys. Thank you.
Boom.
So yeah,
This was still live.
end of the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Good vibes to you. Let's have
Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta for now. Tatas for now. And when does